Welcome back to our Minecraft Survival City. Oh, well, city might be a bit of a stretch right now. It's more of a chaos with a huge obelisk at its center. But hey, every metropolis starts somewhere, right? And today we are taking things up a notch. I've got big plans, so grab your pickaxe, pet your wolf, and let's dive into today's video. Let's take a look at the plan for today. First up, we are in desperate need of resources. And we are not talking about a handful of cobblestones, I'm talking about enough materials to build a modern city that would make any villager jealous. So how do we make that happen? Automatic farms, baby. Here's the deal. If we're going to build a city, we need a few essentials. Iron, gravel, sand, and gunpowder. Let me break it down for you. Okay, that was a bad joke. Anyway, iron. We're gonna need tons of it. Mostly for tools and maybe a few unnecessary iron golems. Just because we can. Gravel and sand. Essential for crafting all the concrete we'll need. Trust me, we're gonna need a lot of it. Gunpowder. Because what's a construction site without an occasional explosion? TNT, baby. We'll need tunnels, we'll need space, and sometimes a bit of a creative destruction to shape our city. And here's the problem. We can't actually farm all of these. Sand and gravel? Nope, not farmable. So we'll focus on the things we can automate. Which means we are building farms for iron and gunpowder. After all, we'll need a lot of tools and, of course, a good stash of TNT for, urban development purposes. We are starting with the iron farm. So how do iron farms actually work? Basically, you summon iron golems and then, well, let's just say you show them the door. Repeatedly. Sorry, Mr. Golem, this is just business. I'm following a design by the YouTuber Wartles. I have no clue if I pronounced his name correctly, but anyway, there are good news. Using this design, we don't need many materials, and the materials we need, most of them are pretty easy to get. Except for 3 things. 2 villagers and 1 zombie. But before we get them, we'll prepare the farm. So now we get our villagers, and there's a good news but also a bad one. The good news is we have a village right next to us. But the bad one is, there aren't any villagers left. They all died, sadly. So we need to find a different village. And after a long search, I finally found one. And it's right next to the water, so what we could do is we trap villagers in a boat and transport them to our city, which is also somewhere near the water. Guess who didn't think about that? Yeah, exactly, I took a minecart and transported them overland all the way to our city. Why, you might ask? I don't know. Next, we need a zombie. This should be easy, right? Wrong. Zombies are great at following you, but stairs seem to be the kryptonite. It took far too long, but finally I convinced one to climb up. Like a dog learning to fetch. Once it's in place, we slap a name tag on it, because zombies have commitment issues and will despawn without it. Now the farm should kick into action. Iron golems spawn, water pushes them into the lava, and the iron drops into hoppers below. It's a little morbid but highly efficient. Time for the boom boom factory. What drops gunpowder? Yeah, creepers. Wonderful, adorable, always blowing up your stuff creepers. For this, we'll use a design by the YouTuber Oink Oink. Link in the description below. Let me present you the Creeper Death Factory. Creepers spawn on the dark platforms, fall into a water stream, and then fall further down into campfires where they roast peacefully. Yeah, all their gunpowder gets neatly collected by hoppers below. We can easily increase gunpowder production by adding more layers. And that's what we're gonna do over and over again. But for now, we'll stop here and move to the next project. Last time we built the crown jewel of our city, the Washington Monument. This towering obelisk is the heart of our city. Naturally, we are going to show it off with a giant roundabout, because what's more majestic than a glorified traffic circle? Now, like any roundabout, it'll have roads leading in and out. 4 to be exact. One of those roads will cross the adorable little valley, and below the road bridge there'll be another bridge. Not for cars though. Oh no, this one for something way cooler. Let me explain. We are upgrading this entire area into a massive transportation hub. Picture it. Buses, subways, long-haul trains. Basically, if it moves people, it'll pass through here. But don't get too excited yet. Most of that will be in a future episode. Today we are starting small with one subway track and a semi-temporary subway station. For the bridge design, we are going classic steel. But there's no steel in Minecraft, so instead we are using light grey concrete. One side of the bridge will welcome trains into the station, whilst the other side will whisk them through a tunnel to the sea. Yeah, that's right, the sea. A perfect spot for a port. Alright, enough chit chat. Let's get to work and kick things off with a little time lapse. And that's it! We are done with the part of our first survey line. Unfortunately, that's also it with this episode. In the next one, we'll do more infrastructure work, build some roads and the roundabout, and then it's already time for our very first residential building. It will be a huge skyscraper, all built in survival Minecraft. Meanwhile, keep sure you've watched my other projects. And now all left to say is, keep building and bye bye.